Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 5. And today we're going to talk about all the levers at your disposal to change the outcomes and improve the results of your affiliate marketing program. Before I jump into it, I want to just rehash what we've covered so far. In episode 2, we covered what the affiliate game is, how it works. In episode 3, we talked about why you should invest in the channel, and we did a little bit of comparison between marketing channels like SEM, and I gave you a framework for how you can sell the affiliate program internally to your leadership team. So we talked about the what, the why, and today we're going to start talking about the how. I think most of our episodes are going to be in this domain around tactically, how do I get better? How do I build? How do I get the stuff done correctly? We'll be in this zone for, I think, quite a long time. I think every now and then we may go philosophical and talk about principles and concepts and things like that, because I think that's important too. But today I really want to lay the groundwork for the how to manage the channel. And the concept I really want to break explicitly is a misconception I hear often from either potential clients, folks that are new to affiliate marketing from a lending industry perspective. And the misconception is I show up, I sign a deal with an affiliate partner, I hand them a CPA and an affiliate link, and I walk away, and then things just start happening. And that's just so far from the truth. It doesn't work like that in practice. The winning lenders, the winning products and programs are quite invested here across a number of different dimensions. So you should be walking away from today's episode not only with that misconception broken, but you should also be walking away, more importantly, with a framework around what things can I actually be doing to move the needle in my affiliate program, both from a volume standpoint and an efficiency standpoint. And I'll close with just some practical things I suggest you do with the framework. We'll talk through this at a high level. I think there's a lot of meat here. I do want to give you enough color so that you can effectively start to build your roadmap for affiliate, because the actions you'll take will slot into the categories I'm about to describe. So let's just jump right in. So there's 7 categories here I want to talk through today. And I'll just tell you what they are so you know you have a roadmap for the episode. We're going to talk about eligibility first. Second, right after eligibility is impression serving. And I hesitate to add this explicitly to the framework because you as the lender don't control this. You influence it, but you don't control it. However, I added it because I do think there are a couple of questions that you can ask each of your affiliate partners to make sure that you're getting the coverage that you deserve within their channel. So I'm going to call this the phantom lever, the impression lever. Then we'll get through to the click-through rate. That'll be the third. The fourth will be your application rate. Fifth, your approval rate. Sixth, your funding rate. This doesn't apply to all products, but it does apply to personal loans, auto refi, potentially some other categories. And then lastly, we'll talk about your CPA or your payout. It's all these things together that determine how attractive it is for the affiliate publisher to promote your offer. So let's jump right in. We'll start with eligibility. So the most basic way to think about eligibility is like, what FICO bands do you serve? So if I went to a new potential partner, one of the first questions they're going to ask me is, okay, cool, Carlos, so you have this product you want to promote on our site. What FICO bands can you approve? And they're expecting to hear something like, oh, I approve prime, anything over 680, for example, or I approve subprime, go 560 to 640. That's usually how they think about eligibility. I would think about eligibility at a much deeper level than that. That's a nice surface way to think about it. But really, eligibility, it gets down to your credit policy and your buy box. So within any given credit band, let's say you play 680 plus, what you're going to want to monitor, track, and potentially even convey to your potential affiliate partners, what percentage of traffic above 680, if you got representative sample of that traffic, will you approve? If they weren't very targeted. So that number might be 40%, 50% for a prime lender. For a subprime lender, it might be in the teens or in the 20s. But you're going to want to communicate that as well as you possibly can, because the affiliate partners have a good idea of what eligibility looks like and what's competitive across their ecosystem. And the more competitive you are, the more motivated they will be to promote your offer. Other notes here, I've seen lenders that don't land across the entire country. So there's certain states they exclude for compliance or operational reasons. The better your coverage across states, obviously the better from an affiliate publisher perspective. But again, that's something you'll want to communicate to them explicitly. One more advanced concept here on eligibility, which is why I recommend you measure it to the decimal and to the percentage point, is some of the affiliate partners you will work with will let you host your model. They'll let you host a targeting model on their site. And one of the things they'll do in return is badge your offer with an approval certainty to the customer. But in order for you to maintain that badge, whatever it is, whether it says pre-approved or it says excellent or amazing or really good, whatever the language might be, the affiliate may come to you and say, hey, in order for us to maintain that, you need to hold your approval rate above X. Once they've given you that bar, then you're going to have to hit that bar. And one of your levers is going to be to sometimes tighten your eligibility so that you're taking out marginal segments and keeping your approval rate above the threshold. That's why you're going to want to keep a habit of just monitoring eligibility explicitly, because it just flows down funnel into all the rest of your results. I guess those are the high level notes on eligibility. Let's keep moving here to impressions. Again, I opened the episode saying this is a phantom lever. You don't really control where or how your affiliate partner serves impressions, but you can influence it, and you can ask some simple questions that can help you make sure that your offer's being served in the right spots. So the questions I would ask, one would be, what are all the different pages, surfaces, device types where you might potentially serve an offer in my category? So you're going to want to have a map of all the different things, where all the different places they could serve the offer. And then your follow-up question is, okay, am I being served in all those places or not? And if the answer is no, like what would unlock that placement for me? Is there a certain CPC you're looking for, a certain revenue per impression? Is there a certain CPA? Like they might give you some guidance there on what unlocks the placement. But you're going to want to have that explicit conversation. There's all sorts of things that could be happening. There could be opportunities present that you're just simply not aware of. Along the same veins, ask about external marketing they do. So, for example, if the affiliate partner is one that has their own audience that logs in, the audience logs in behind an authenticated marketplace. Examples of this might be Credit Karma, Experian, Credit Sesame, Wallet Hub. There's a number of examples where a core product offering is behind an authenticated layer. You may want to ask that partner, hey, are you promoting my offer in some of your non-authenticated placements? So your organic Google results, your SEM, social media, maybe even direct mail they might do. So you're going to want to ask about that external marketing they might do. And then third, ask about email programs. Many affiliates build lists where either through their own first-party customers or through other partners that they acquire, they may promote certain or all offers through that email channel. And again, you'll want to just have a yes/no answer to, is your product being promoted in that channel? If it's being promoted, how is it being promoted? Is it just your brand being displayed in the email, or is the email generic? Check out all these cards and you're listed among them once the customer clicks through. So you might want to just dig into that. None of these things I'm mentioning here are necessarily going to be game changers for you, but you may find 2, 5, even 10, 15% more volume if you ask the right questions, dig in, and find ways to unlock some of these placements. All right, so that's impressions. Next, let's talk about click-through rate. And as I was preparing for today's episode, I just noted, man, there's a lot here with click-through rate. I think a lot of lenders that are in the affiliate game don't fully spend enough time thinking through click-through rate and all the different things they can do to influence it. Quite a bit to do here in this category. The goal of today's episode isn't to go deep in any particular area. It's more so to give you a roadmap of like, what things should I be thinking about? What things should I be paying attention to? So that as you brainstorm with your cross-functional teams, as you run your strategy sessions, you have the right examples and some illustrations from someone that's been in this for a while of levers you might consider playing with. So if I just start with credit cards and I think about what's going to influence my click-through rate, let's say I'm a rewards credit card product. The things that come to mind are my rewards rate. So am I offering 1%, 2%, 3%? My sign-up bonus. This is important because most affiliate offers that are competitive today do offer some bonus. So whether it's the 60,000 miles or the $200 cash bonus when I spend $3,000 in the first 90 days. The more compelling your bonus, the more clicks you're going to get, the more conversions ultimately you're going to drive through your affiliate program. So you're going to have to be strategic around your choices there. And then lastly is the annual fee. Especially in the rewards space, the richest rewards products come with annual fees, but what I've seen in this space is that customers are quite sensitive to the annual fee. They're going to, again, want to be strategic around, do I offer an annual fee? If so, what is it? Should I put a no-fee version of my product out there just for affiliates? So make sure you do your due diligence on the annual fee. And then let's keep going here. If we keep riffing on a rewards card, I would say the card art probably matters more than you think. How are you displaying your product to the customer? Is it compelling? Does it pop off the page? Or does it look like every other credit card that's going to be listed in that affiliate marketplace? Obviously, your brand factors in. So if you have a really strong brand that people recognize, that's going to help drive your CTR. If you're a no-name fintech, you just got going, not many people have heard of you, obviously your brand's not going to play. So you may want to over-index on some of these other things that we're talking about here because you're going to be sort of at a disadvantage here when it comes to brand recognition. If I were looking at subprime cards, it would be the APR and the annual fee are probably the most likely things. What I'll say here is some affiliate channels are starting to, and even some lenders explicitly are starting to communicate to the customer what credit limit they expect to give them. This is pretty important in subprime, where if you told a customer, for example, that they're guaranteed or very likely to get a $1,000 credit limit, that's going to have a very different CTR and different inbound population. There's a whole lot that's going to change if you do 1,000 versus 500, for example. Most brands, what I find today is that they're not communicating an expected credit limit, but I'm seeing some evidence in the ecosystem that things are moving in a direction of folks are at least experimenting with this. Some brands are just communicating my line is going to be X if you're approved at a minimum. And then some marketplaces are experimenting with predicting what they think the credit limit's going to be based on their historical transactions. So I think there's some interesting stuff going on there in that category. If I think about personal loans, the things that are going to matter most, the APR, the loan amount, the brand, those are really going to be your drivers. APR is disproportionately going to be the factor that drives your CTR. Staying here on click-through rate for a second, because a little bit more here to unpack. Depending on the marketplace, particularly the ones that have authentication, so that they know quite a bit about the user at the moment that they're serving the ad, here's some things to look for. One is the approval rate badging. I've talked about this before, and I actually went pretty deep in a prior episode, and I called the approval rate the super lever. And one of the reasons is because as your approval rate gets really high, you allow the affiliate partner to communicate that on your behalf when they serve the ad. And that drives high CTRs. So to the extent you can monitor what your approval rate badging looks like, if your affiliate partner would be willing to share that with you, it's a pretty key lever. Other things I'm seeing out there, whether or not your application is kind of fast and easy, if that can be badged and communicated to the customer. We talked about estimated credit limit. If the bonus you're offering is a limited time offer only, so let's say your rewards card normally gives 60,000 points to new customers, but for the next 60 days, you're going to give 80 or 100,000 points. If the affiliate partner can badge that it's a limited time only for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever, that's going to drive more clicks. So those are good explicit conversations to have with your affiliate partner. Other things I've seen brands partner with affiliate marketplaces to say that a certain offer or deal or price is available only on that marketplace. So it's an exclusive type of badging. And then your star ratings, definitely something to keep an eye on. Many affiliate marketplaces post the ad with not only the offer terms, but the social reviews, what people say about the product. And that clearly, I think, can be a driver of CTR. And then closing out this section on CTR, the rank, this is going to matter quite a bit. So whether you're served in the first position, second position, third position is going to be a driver of your CTR. Now, you don't control the rank, obviously. So whether you're second, third, first, fourth is out of your control. But knowing where you stand is important because if, for example, you're fourth and you believe you can get to second or first, there's an upside there on the lead volume that you can drive out of the marketplace. And that's something you're going to that's something you will be able to influence through your conversion rate and how well your product monetizes. So it's a good question to ask any affiliate partner is, hey, walk me through how you rank my offer. Is it based on RPI, CPC, something else? What I found is most affiliate marketplaces are happy to walk through how they do that. And their answer to that question might vary on what page it's served on or whether it's email or in product. So there could be some nuance to that answer, which is why I don't want to speak definitively to how marketplaces rank product. The takeaway for you is that it's important to know where you stand and that it's important to know what you can do to drive your position upwards. Another thing I want to add here about rank is that I want to share a study that I found on a site called First Page Sage. I'm going to link to the article in the show notes. But they put a little grid up there, and these are results from Google, and they showed average click-through rate by ad rank position. So across all industries, they can get really calibrated on what's the effect of ad position on the CTR. And the results are pretty interesting. I'm not certain they hold up for affiliate marketing in the lending category per se. Here's what they said. Ad position 1, 2.1% CTR. Ad position 2, 1.4%. Ad position 3, 1.3%. Ad position 4, 1.2%. So the basic story is like, if I'm in the top, I get this really nice premium, like 50% premium over ad position 2. That's the 2.1 versus the 1.4. But once I'm at position 2 and below, it's kind of like a shallow sloped line. I go from 1.4 to 1.3 to 1.2. So like there's a little bit of drop off each position to the next, but it's not as dramatic as the benefit you get from being in ad position 1. This would imply, if true and if it held up for affiliates, that there's a really nice premium that you can earn by being in the number 1 position, which makes all the other levers I'm about to talk about really important, because if that's true, that the winner in each category is 50% more clicks than anybody else, even if everything else is equal across product and the offer, etc. So one last thing here before we move on to application rate. I think one takeaway, just very practical takeaway for you to leave with, is when you're building your strategic roadmap for each affiliate partner, stare carefully at the ad unit within each marketplace and go through and look at all the variants. So like the exercise might be take your ad and paste it next to all the other competitor ads in that same marketplace. Identify what are the bits and pieces, what's the framework of that ad unit, and what are the things you can do to drive a differentiated treatment relative to your competition in each zone. And if you build a structured agenda against each specific thing, I think you're going to do very well, at least at the top of the funnel. So let's move on to application rate. This section is going to be really quick. So there's really 3 things you can do when it comes to your application rate. So you can streamline your own app. And this really comes down to like how fast does the page load? How many fields am I asking for? How many pages long is it? Am I optimized for mobile and desktop? That sort of thing. Like your classic conversion rate optimization type of stuff. Number 2 is pre-filling. So if your partner knows who the customer is, again, let's think about authenticated marketplaces like Credit Karma, like Experian, like NerdWallet, like Wallet Hub, Credit Sesame. They may be able to pass some of that information with consumer consent onto you. And when they land on your application page, some of the stuff is pre-filled, name, address, email, phone number, that sort of date of birth, that sort of stuff. And then number 3, again, some of these authenticated marketplaces may have built their own hosted application pages. So again, worth asking, do you host application pages? If so, how can it work? Can I integrate with you so that the customer effectively never leaves the marketplace? The affiliate partner pre-fills all their information, takes the application on their end, pipes it to you over an API so that A, they never have to leave the walls of where they're shopping, and B, everything's pre-filled, clean and easy. So if this is something your affiliate partner provides or is willing to build with you, I would definitely recommend checking that out. One other takeaway here before we move on to approval rate is I would take your application rate, cut it up by browser and device combination. So for example, look at how your application rate shows up on like Android Firefox, Android Chrome, Android, all the other browser combinations. Same thing on an Apple phone. You know, what's your application rate on an Apple phone on Safari, Apple phone on Chrome, Apple phone on Firefox? look at all the combinations and then look at the application rate. Same thing for your PC. And what I normally see here is there's usually at least one combination that's relatively big where the application rate's just off. It's just materially lower than all the other combinations. And usually it's because the page loads too slowly, or there's some weird bug no one's ever thought to fix, or when the customer types in their phone number, it doesn't autocorrect if there's like a missing area code. Like there's all sorts of weird stuff that could be happening in your application pages. And if you're not looking at how your application rate is actually performing across all the combinations, you may be leaving value on the table. So I think no-brainer thing to ask one of your analysts to go run down for you. And then just go fix the broken windows, because any lift you get here is just incremental business that you're adding without any real incremental work on the affiliate or the lending or product side. So there could be some quick wins for you there. So let's move on to approval rate. Let's just kick this off with my subjective opinion of your approval rate. If you run media through a targeted digital affiliate channel that has your targeting model and they're running it on your behalf and sending you leads on the other side of that model, if you're below 40% subpar, something big isn't working in that model. If you're 40 to 50%, I'd say you're decent. 50 to 70%, you're okay. If you're 70 to 80%, I think respectable, very, very good job. And if you're 80+% on your approval rate through a targeted channel, I'd say you're world class. Look, there's nuance here by product category. It's harder to do this depending on the FICO band you play in, the product category you play in. So these aren't like black and white categorizations. But I do think these are kind of full guidelines. If you're below 40, you should be really worried. If you're above 80, you should be high-fiving. And if you're somewhere in between, like there's probably stuff you can do to move the needle. So there's two determinants of your approval rate. One is just how big your buy box is, and the second is how well targeted you are on the. If you're a marketing leader, you're generally not going to be lobbying for credit policy expansion. That's the risk team's job to figure out who they want to lend to and what the credit policy should be. So you're generally going to be taking that as a given. However, once you know what that buy box is, the things you can do on your end with your affiliate partners is dial into that audience that's most likely to get approved so that your marketing funnel for the ads you serve are really, really efficient. And again, that will motivate and incentivize your affiliate partner to show your product as often as possible because it monetizes well. So your levers here on an approval rate, it really boils down to how well aligned your front and back end models are. The things you can do to improve alignment, one is use the same credit bureau on both sides, the front and the back end. Two is use the same credit score, assuming it's an input to your model, whether it's Vantage or it's FICO. And you really need to get it down to the exact version of FICO or Vantage, the exact bureau. But make sure those match on front and back. Make sure the attributes you're using, like down to the definition, are exactly matched on the front and back end. If you have custom attributes that you've built off of trade line data for your back end model, see if you can code them on the front end. Some affiliate publishers will give you the tools to do that. If that's not an option, what I'd suggest is that you recalibrate your back end model specifically for the affiliate channel to remove those custom attributes so that you can get that really nice match on both sides. That's going to drive your approval rate up. It's going to drive the approval certainty badge that the affiliate can put on their side, and it'll overall improve the dynamics of the program. And then lastly, if you can avoid using non-credit bureau data in the back end, let's say you use some alternative data that maybe it's secret sauce to you, or maybe it's common in your product category or industry, but the affiliate partner doesn't have access to it. What's going to happen is they're going to identify people that otherwise pass your credit policy, and then as they're going through your back end, they're going to fail based on that alternate data attribute, and then it's going to be difficult for you to maintain that approval rate that you want or would like to maintain in that affiliate channel. So again, I would recommend considering dropping that if you can, or working with your affiliate partner to see if they can include it on the front end. One final idea I want to communicate to you all here. If you really want to know if your if your front end and back end models are well aligned, here's what I would suggest. So take a data set with all the credit attributes that you need to score your model. let's call it a sample of 5,000. You don't need a huge sample. 5,000 applications, okay? Run them through your model. Attach the output of your model to all the input attributes. So imagine you have a data set. It's all the credit bureau attributes. You're adding a column or 2 or 3 of the resulting scores that you generate from that data. Now you're going to upload that data set into your partner's data environment. And then you're going to want to run their model on the same data set. Again, in theory, if your models are perfectly aligned, when you take the same data that you upload and you run their model in their environment on that data set, you're going to create like an additional 3 columns with some resulting risk scores or outputs, and those should match the ones you generated on your backend system. If they don't, there's some room out for opportunity to align your model better. If they perfectly align, then great. You can feel good that at least at a logic or code level, your models are aligned. That doesn't mean, however, that you're going to get 100% approval rate in production, because remember, your partner's data is different from your data. They may have slightly different attributes. They may collect the attributes from the credit bureaus at a different time that you do. So just because you get perfect results through that exercise does not mean in production you're going to be at 100%. But it is a very good indicator that at least structurally, the things you can control are working. Okay, we're going to hit 2 key parts of the funnel here, and then we're going to wrap today's episode. So the 6th category here, funding rate, and this generally applies to personal loans, auto refis, maybe some other product categories. But the big picture idea here is that all your back office processes impact your affiliate program. So let's say you have 1,000 customers that are credit approved from, I'm going to make this up, from Experian. Okay, so Experian sent you a bunch of leads, you approved 1,000 of them, and now you have to go through some back office stuff to fund those loans and ultimately convert those approvals. So generally you're talking about verifying income, identity, employment, collateral values, stuff like that. And there's lots of ways to do this. There's human beings involved, there's technology involved. This stuff is hard, and it's getting better every day as things get more and more digital and automated. But I guess the thing for you to be aware of is if your competitors are funding these approvals at 60% and you're funding at 20%, they just found a piece of their funnel where they're 3x better than you. That's a huge problem for you, because all else being equal, their ad monetizes 3x better than yours for that affiliate. And their distribution, the number of impressions they get, their rank, all of that's going to be better as a result. So whether you like it or not, your operational backend team that takes an approved customer and ultimately runs them through the process to get funded and converted plays a very, very big role in how many leads / customers you can generate out of your affiliate channels. And by the way, same is true in all your paid channels, because as your funding rates go up, your CACs are going to come down. That'll give your performance marketing team an opportunity to buy more media in Google or Facebook. Relatively obvious point, but as you're building your affiliate roadmap, I think the non-obvious point is that your back office processes on funding rate should be on your affiliate roadmap, because if you're just ignoring this and you're taking it for granted that your back office just is what it is and you can't do anything about it, you're leaving a material lever that actually drives results for you in affiliate and all the other marketing channels, and you're leaving it off the table. You may explicitly decide to punt for whatever reason, because that team's working on other stuff or you don't have the resources to influence it or whatever. But if I'm the CRO and I'm looking at your affiliate strategy, I'm definitely going to be asking, what is your plan on this step of the funnel? Are we ignoring it? Are we doing something about it? I would want to see a good justification for those choices and why your roadmap looks the way it does. All right, bucket 7, CPA. This is what you pay the affiliate partner when you get a conversion. So when a lead they sent you or a click out they send you turns into a customer, you owe them money. However much amount of money you want to give them is a multiplier on all the rest of your funnel. So yes, this is a lever. There's some real strategy here into what you decide that CPA is going to be. Obviously, this is going to impact your margins. So there's some real strategy here. My general note on CPA is this is the last lever I want to move, because generally I'm not going to want to double my CPA. If I've decided I want to pay, I'm making this up, $200 for my credit card conversions out of affiliate, I'm not going to wake up one morning and say, oh, I suddenly want to pay 400. Like I might decide I want to pay 250 or 225 instead of 200, but I'm generally not going to want to double. But if you look at all the other levels we've talked about, the application rate, the click-through rate, your eligibility, your approval rate, your funding rate, when you look at the compounding of all, like let's say you compounded 20-30% across all of those things, you can double, triple, quadruple the efficiency of your funnel through those other levers. So I generally like to hold on to CPA as like kind of last thing, or I use CPA as like a band-aid where I say, look, I'm not getting the results I want out of the affiliate channel now, but like I have a revenue target to hit or a customer acquisition target I need to hit. So I'm going to artificially drive up CPA to hit that goal, but I'm doing it explicitly as a band-aid because I know all these other things I'm working on are going to take 3 to 6 months. But once I get there and my funnel's 2, 3, 4x more efficient, I'm going to dial the CPA back down to where it needs to be because I don't want to sustainably be in a place where I'm impacting margin in order to solve a distribution problem. So that was kind of the final thought there on CPA. So hopefully this was helpful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put together maybe just like a quick PDF, a one-pager that summarizes what we went through today. So the idea being if you wanted to use that summary to fill out all the levers you have and what your potential roadmap could be, you have a piece of paper that can guide you as you think through it. The other things I'll close with, one is if you use the same framework on all the levers, you're going to want to find internal monitoring you can do to determine whether you're making progress or actually moving in the wrong direction on all these levers. So this can help you build internal dashboards, monitorings, NBRs, etc. So this will help you do it in a structured way. The other ideas I'll leave you with is you're going to have some blind spot here. Just as an example, we talked about rank, ad position, how important that is. Like you're not going to have visibility into that most of the time. There are some exceptions where affiliate partners just have a static ranking and the page is unauthenticated, it's public, and you can just hit it and see, okay, well, am I still in the number 1 position or the number 2 position? So there are some exceptions to this, but what I found is the vast majority of the time, at least across many affiliates, the ad position is only something that they can see, either because it's behind an authenticated layer or because they just have so many different segments and so many different ways of displaying rank that even if it was a public site, you wouldn't have confidence that the number 1 placement you're seeing for your product for you is the same as, your neighbor or someone that lives across the country. So definitely ask the partner to help you fill out your blind spots. And again, anytime you're asking for incremental data or information from your affiliate partner, try your best to communicate it, like why it's good for them to help you understand all this stuff. If more or less your stance is, hey, the more I know about all these levers, the more I can influence my organization to make progress against all of these so that I'm constantly providing a good experience for your users and the offer monetizes really well. And you start to build a track record of actioning on the data that you see, that'll be a flywheel that gets your affiliate partner comfortable sharing this stuff with you because it takes work, it takes time, and they are taking some risk when they expose information to you that you otherwise wouldn't see. So that would be my guidance there. And then lastly, I would say consider investing in external competitive intelligence. So whether it be Mintel or Comscore, companies of that nature that build products that help you understand what others are doing in marketing channels, it'll help guide you on decisions that you make. I will say many affiliate partners provide some of this competitive intelligence just as a courtesy to their partners. So some of this will be given to you by your affiliate partners, but there may be things that you're interested in seeing that they just simply don't provide, either because they don't have those things or because they simply have chosen not to share them. So those could be places where external vendors might help. So that wraps today's episode. If you found today's show helpful, I'd love it if you'd share the episode on social media, particularly on LinkedIn, or simply share the link with a colleague who might find it helpful. It would also be great if you could leave a review on the podcast platform where you found the show, or just drop me a line. My contact information's in the show notes, and just tell me what you found useful. And obviously, constructive criticism always welcome too. If there's something you want me to expand on in a future episode, definitely let me know. So thanks for spending the time with me today, and I hope to see you again soon.